You are Locked On Dodgers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
How about that one? That was crazy. Dodgers by a touchdown, beating the Giants in San Fran at Oracle 14-7 with 7 in the ninth. Wild, exciting, scary. I was going to be super annoyed if they lost that one. But at the same time, God, there's just so much to get into. I don't even know where to start. I'll start here as I normally do. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. Place to hang out when every game is done. This one went almost 4 hours, which we haven't seen in a while. You can also listen to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Today's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rival city. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. So, how do we feel about this one? Like, just dominant. There's so many things that were exciting and fun and, stressful about this game. I don't even know really where to start. I guess, should we start at the end or should we start at the beginning? Let's start at the end. That's generally what we do, because one of my favorite parts of this game, in addition to the 7-run 11th, was watching the Giant fans file out of Oracle like rats out of a building that was on fire. It's just, they got out of there in such a hurry. And then they showed the, like the drone shot from above, and all you see is Dodger fans. That was friggin' fantastic. Screw you, Giant fans. Oh, I hate you all. Anyway, it's a beautiful stadium and it's a beautiful city. I love your uniforms. I really do. But I hate the Giants. Oh, this was a good one. Who do we put the crown on today for the player of the game? I mean, I feel like it has to be Miggy Rojas. 3 hits, 4 RBI. He was on fire. Had the go-ahead RBI in the 10th. And then did he have another one in the 11th? Rojas hit a sac fly to left. Hayward scored. So he scored the 14th run for the Dodgers, or had the RBI anyway. Hayward scored the run. I guess we could go through the extra inning of this, kind of breaking it down. I wrote down some notes about stuff going on in like the 8th and the 9th, because I thought it would be important, and it turned out to not be important. But let's look at the 10th inning. So Miggy Rojas gets on with a single. Chris Taylor scored. That gave the Dodgers the 7-6 lead. Then to the bottom of the 10th, a pinch hitter. This kind of ticked me off a little bit. Daniel Hudson gives up a RBI single to a pinch hitter. You don't see that very often. Usually guys coming off the bench. It's not like soccer. When they get in the game, they've got more energy and they're ready to go. In this particular situation in baseball, that's rare. But it happened, and nice piece of hitting from him. It was kind of a slider that didn't break enough. It came in right down Main Street, right over the plate, and Villar took advantage of it and hammered it into the gap. It was a nice at bat for him. A double to left. Wisely scored to tie it at 7. On to the 11th we go. Will Smith had a very weird game as he's trying to get back on track. Will Smith was, I'm trying to find the box score, and I stumble onto the pitching box score. Dodgers sent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pitchers. So it looks just like the box score. 9 pitchers to the mound today in this 14-7 win. Will Smith, 3 RBI, going 3 for 6. The most meaningful of which was a double to center after they intentionally walked Shohei Ohtani in the 11th. Will Smith doubled him and Kike Hernandez home to make it 9-7. At that point, I was like, this game is over. Dodgers win 9-7. No, they were not even close to done at that point. Freddie Freeman then doubles to center. Will Smith scores to make it 10-7. Then Chris Taylor singles to right as he is scrapping and scraping away to try to get that average back to 200. Single to right. Freddie Freeman scored, as did Teoscar Hernandez. That was a it says 2. So yeah, 11-7 at that point. That's not right. Freeman scored. Oh, I'm sorry. Teoscar to second, right? Then Shohei comes up. This was an interesting one. Rips a triple down the line to right field, scoring Teoscar and Chris Taylor, but the ball got caught up in the protective padding down there in the corner of Oracle, and that gave Shohei the triple. And then Rojas with the sac fly to score Shohei to make it 14-7. And by that point, Oracle was utterly empty. People got out of there so fast. It was crazy. But I think another ultimately, a win is a win. This is a gutty win. A lot of people discussing the atmosphere around this series and the fact that it just felt like a big game, big series. Beating the Giants is beautiful. Yes, it is, Craig. It's a beautiful night. Mr. Seabad, this is a little inappropriate, but yes, absolutely. You had some funny stuff last night that I did not get to, and I apologize. They showed this another one from Seabad. You're on fire again tonight. I wish Muncy played. He owns the Giants. They showed a highlight of Max Muncy taunting Bumgarner, and I always loved that. When Max Muncy would hit a home run or get a base hit off of Bumgarner, he'd toss the bat and point at him and scream at him. And because, Bumgarner is just ratcheted up way too high and just kind of an a-hole, let's be honest. And Max Muncy, seems like a pretty even-keeled sort of dude, but can get dialed up when need be. So I was reminiscing and thinking back to those days when Muncy would get after Bumgarner's ass. That was always fantastic. So anytime the Dodgers can beat the Giants is great, especially like this when they just completely unravel. But hey, let's be honest. Let's speak the truth here for a second. Giants played a great game. They're a sub 500 team, 40-44 now. They're scrappy. They kept coming. And this made for a fantastic baseball game. As I was saying, a lot of people talking about the atmosphere around this series for this weekend in San Francisco, and they're saying it has a very playoff vibe. Shohei Ohtani referenced it, saying these kind of games in my 6 years with the Angels did not exist. And that's one of the main reasons that he wanted out of there, is to be on a contender and playing meaningful, high leverage games. Not something that happened during his time in Anaheim, has never been in the playoffs. So part of the reason he left and came to the Dodgers was to play in games and series like this that are just meaningful. And, so far so good for Shohei Ohtani. Hit another home run tonight, another blast in a very, very interesting, bizarre at bat, which we're going to break down next. Dodgers by a touchdown over the Giants, 14-7. The final as they win it in 11 innings. We'll also get to Glasnow's day, which was ugly, and we'll get to a very packed, overflowing Diamond Dogs list. This is the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. You can also listen to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. All right, today's show is brought to you by Booking.com. With summer traveling heating up, especially travel for baseball games, it's time to explore those U.S. cities you've always secretly wanted to learn about. Yes, we are talking about your rival city. I think for this type of series, the Dodger fans travel very well. Let's be honest. They packed out Yankee Stadium about a month ago, taking on the Yanks in the Bronx. Dodgers fans this season seem to have a little bit more emphasis when it comes to traveling to see the Dodgers play, to see them on the road. We were in New York for the summer for 3 or 4 days last year, and the Dodgers just happened to be in town or were coming like the day after we left or something. And we bumped into so many Dodger fans out seeing the sights. It was pretty cool. So Dodger fans travel. If you have not thought about that idea to take a trip and go see the Dodgers on the road, so many good opportunities in the West alone. Obviously, San Diego's fantastic. San Francisco is a fantastic, beautiful city. So much to see and do there. Phoenix, even though it's 120, still fun city this time of year. And without a doubt, Phoenix in the summer is a bargain. It's on sale with hotels, beds and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on booking.com. You just need to find the perfect stay, even if it's at your baseball team's rival city. From hotels that overlook stadiums to family-friendly resorts, booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this Major League Baseball season. I used booking.com on our European trip, and I booked a room for 2 people, and there was 3 of us. And the lady at the hotel or the B&B that we were staying at, she was so helpful and so friendly and made the whole thing so easy to deal with. So it was a really good booking.com experience for me. And I also love the fact that you can book and you don't pay until you get there. And most of the time they have free cancellations, which is also awesome. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rival city. Book today on booking.com, on the site, or in the booking.com app. All right, Dodgers, a 14-7 win over the Giants. I guess technically you'd say it is a come from behind win. I think, weren't they behind at some point? I feel like they were. Maybe not. This game was so long. Yeah, they were down 5-2 at one point after the 3rd inning. So yeah, come from behind win, 14-7. Can't even remember. I can't remember the last time I watched a game that was almost 4 hours long. This is like 2 games in one, really. But that at bat for Shohei Ohtani, when he hit the home run, was both a mess and beautiful, because before the home run swing, he was all over the place. That whole flying out right hip, head off of the ball. He just looked completely out of sync, pulling out, over swinging. But right at that point, fouled off a few pitches, stayed alive. And then when it came to that pitch, a slider that didn't quite do what the pitcher wanted it to do, he loaded and waited, and head was on the ball and just obliterated it. 412 feet, his 26th of the year. It was a 1-2 count, so he was in a hole, and it's just remarkable. He's a guy that I think is really frustrating and brilliant to watch, because you feel like anything is possible with this guy. The fact that he can hit a ball out at any given time, whether he looks good or bad, is really just that's the stuff that superstars are made of, right? That's the stop what you're doing kind of a thing. He is without a doubt a stop what you're doing kind of guy, especially when he faced off against what's that guy's name? Duvall, the closer for the Giants, who was humping it up at around 100, 101. That was a hell of a battle. Duvall got the best of him, striking him out in the 9th. The Dodgers went with the whimper in the top of the 9th. Ohtani striking out. Will Smith, one of his infield singles. Freddie walked. So they did have a little bit of a threat going, but then Teoscar struck out and Pages struck out, because Duvall is just wicked, right? But they threatened a little bit, which was nice to see. But that guy is a heck of a good pitcher, as is the guy that came in before him, Walker, who went 1 2/3, got some wicked stuff with that sweeper, struck out 3 Dodgers, allowed just 1 hit in 1 2/3 innings. So the Giants bullpen on a bullpen day did pretty well. They didn't even really have their starter went just 1 inning. Howard pitched 2 2/3. Giving up 6 runs. He got beat up pretty badly there in the 2nd and part of the 3rd. They pulled him for Rodriguez, who slowed things down. And after that 3rd inning, everything kind of slowed down. I mean, I felt like the game was pretty much over for quite a while. They had a slow start. Dodgers, not much going on there. Ramos sacrifice fly. Soler, who had doubled to start the game, he came around to score to make it 1-1. Dodgers answered right back. A Rojas single scored Andy Pages. The Dodgers went ahead on the Shohei Ohtani home run. Then Soler another double to score Ahmed. That guy had a heck of a game, Soler. what was he on the day? He was 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run scored. Seemed like he was on every single time he got up. But yeah, so, a lot going on through the third inning. The Giants grabbed the lead there 5-2, and then the Dodgers answered back in the fourth, tied the game, and then took the lead 6-5. And then we didn't see much of anything until the 10th inning. So, wow, just an exciting, fun game. Unfortunately, Glasnow was a complete and utter mess. I don't understand how he went from what we saw with him last time out to what he did today. Other than all you could say is that's baseball, right? That's what it felt like to me. That's baseball, right? They talked about it a little bit in the broadcast, but he was all over the place, especially high. He couldn't get the ball down into the zone. And then it just felt like he had so little control that he was just trying to get it over the plate. And at that point in time, the Giants just started taking advantage of it and getting base hits because he was throwing fastballs right down Main Street with no action, just flat four-seamers coming down the pipe. And he was just struggling, and you could see it on his face. He was dropping F-bombs left, right, and center. Just really a frustrating performance for him. In the end, he did manage 3, giving up 5 runs on 7 hits, 2 walks and 1K. The 1K came on a curveball that was fairly decent, but for the most part, just a really, really bad outing where he had so little control. Glavine thought it might have been mechanics. To me, it seemed like he might have been rushing a little, but for the most part, his mechanics seemed okay. I don't know if the release point was off potentially, because that's what would cause the ball to rise the way it was, but it wasn't just one every now and then. It was regular. And when he got one over the plate, the Giants were there feasting. They were taking advantage of all of the, easy, flat fastballs. And as I said, this Giant team is scrappy. They got a bunch of guys with, fairly decent batting averages. Solaire's a little bit low in the leadoff spot at 226. But this Lamont Wade character at first base, that guy is awesome. They said with runners in scoring position, his batting average is 450. And we heard that in the 10th with the runner in scoring position. But fortunately, Daniel Hudson got out of that jam. That's when they pulled Chris Taylor into 5 infielders, 2 outfielders. Ballsy play there from Dave Roberts. So I'm not seeing a lot of the fire Dave Roberts today, BC. Are you okay with Dave Roberts being the manager for another game? Because that was a very headsy move right there by the manager, which worked out. Now, granted, wasn't because of defense; it was because of Daniel Hudson. But that's a ballsy move, right? I was biting my fingernails, questioning that, going, "Really? Why'd you waste this is really what I thought at that point. Why did you waste that stupid challenge on the error from Kike? The ground ball made a nice play deep at third base, threw high to Freddie Freeman, who skied to get the ball. Freddie Freeman's like 6'6", I think, maybe 6'4". And with his arm out, he's probably another 3 feet, and he jumped. He was probably 11 feet in the air, brought that ball down, and it was bang, bang. Almost got it, but it was clear that he was out. Safe rather. And Dave Roberts challenged. Then late in extras, a ball went off the foot of somebody. I don't know who it was at that point, but clearly nicked his toe upon further review. But they didn't have a challenge. So that's when they brought the infield in, and D-Hud got out of the jam. That was fantastic, exciting, and really, really kind of kept the momentum rolling for them, and was a big part of the win for the Dodgers. Let's hit the final break. I'll spend the last segment on the Diamond Dogs list because it is a little bit more lengthy than normal. So thank you guys for joining me here. This is the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. All right, tonight's show also brought to you by our friends at Game Time. I'm a big fan of Game Time. Killer last-minute deals. I always love a deal, and I don't mind waiting to the last minute to save some money and get better seats, because it always seems to work out, right? And a lot of times, even if you're in the ballpark, it doesn't matter. Just to be in the ballpark, it's fine, right? You don't have like even bad seats sometime are fun. Like this game would have been fantastic to be at. I don't care where you were sitting. That was a great game. And the fact is that probably a tough ticket to get, but if you were using Game Time to find tickets to that game tonight or this afternoon in San Francisco, you probably got a good deal. One of the other cool things is all-in prices and views from your seat. The best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Game Time is fast and easy, and it's a great way to buy tickets for not just sports. You can find music, comedy, theater, and all that stuff that is available to you on the Game Time app. And again, you get views from the seats. They are obsessed at Game Time with finding ways to help you save money, sometimes up to 60%. If you can wait right up until about an hour before the event starts, you can save a lot of money. As I mentioned, the Angels continuing to play some good baseball. They're down right now to the Detroit Tigers in Anaheim in the 5th inning. But as I mentioned last night, tickets for this game were like $11. And for tomorrow's finale against the Tigers, they're right in that same ballpark, under $20. So if you're looking for something to do tomorrow, I don't know how the Game Time matches up with the Dodger game. Let's check that real quick. Dodgers are playing at 1, and the Angels are probably playing a matinee as well. So if that's the case, then never mind. But actually, no, they're not playing tomorrow. They're off. Really? That's surprising. That's not a 4-game series. Thought that for sure would be a 4-game series. They're playing tomorrow at 1. So never mind. You can't go to the Angel game. You got to watch the Dodger game. So find something else to do and use the Game Time app to do it. You can take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for your $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. They tell me to give examples of, tickets that are a good deal. And I think going to an Angel game for under $20 is a good deal, unless it's happening right at the same time as the Dodger game is. And when it's Dodgers Giants, definitely opt to stay home on your couch over going to the Angels Tigers finale. I am Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast. This is the most fun I've had watching a baseball game in quite a while. The fact that it was back and forth, it was nail-biting and tenuous at times, was great. The fact that the Dodgers were down and battled back, was fantastic. But I will agree with Roy here a little bit. If we say we have a little bit of reality check here before we get to the Diamond Dogs list. This is why I keep telling everyone we need more pitching. Our pitching is not good enough. Well, I think that's a bit aggressive, Roy. It's not been good the last couple of nights, but in the end, they got the job done. That's really all that you need. So the fact is that they're dealing with some injuries. Yamamoto is out. Obviously, we haven't seen the hiding our hair of Dustin May or Emmett Sheehan, and who knows if Emmett Sheehan can even pitch at the major league level anymore. He was kind of like a Gavin Stone from last year. It's been a long time since we've seen him. It feels like Tony Gonsolin. Obviously, that guy is very good. He's not great. He eats up innings, gets batters out. So if we can get some of those guys back, obviously Clayton Kershaw's he had a week off after some soreness after a workout or a rehab start. So maybe a couple of weeks away for him. I'm not exactly sure, but he's right around the corner as well. So I think the Dodger pitching is, especially the bullpen. Let's be honest here. Come on now. We can't be tied to the recency bias of what's happened the last couple of days. Yohan Ramirez, not the best day today. Gave up a run over an inning and a third on 2 hits. That's not terrible. And obviously, we're not going to criticize Glasnow for having a bad outing. It's an anomaly. It's unique. It's strange and bizarre. But he's not a guy that's been struggling the way we saw Walker Buehler struggling after coming back from the surgery. Vesia has been lights out. 1.23 ERA. Peterson This guy came in and was nails today. 2/3 of an inning, struck out 2, walked 1, 13 pitches. Bonda has been on fire. Can't criticize that guy in any way, shape, or form. Had an inning there today, struck out 2, walked 1. Blake Trinan, after giving up the game-winning home run yesterday, and really, honestly, they make a good point that Blake Trinan's ERA is higher than we saw it when he returned, because it was 0 for like a long time. It's at 3.06. That boils down to 2 home runs, a grand slam, and the 2-run shot yesterday. That is it today. 10 pitches, unhittable. Evan Phillips, 1 inning, 16 pitches, unhittable, 1.52 ERA. Daniel Edson gave up 1 run on 2 hits, but got out of a big jam. And then Yarbrough's been really good too. 7 pitches in the 9th, 3.10 is his ERA. So I don't know how you can criticize that bullpen. You can't really. And you know, to say we need another starter, I just don't know. Unless, you know, Yamamoto is done for the season, which I don't believe he is. So they're still pretty stacked, especially when they get Clayton Kershaw back. And I know that Clayton Kershaw is not going to be in too many high leverage positions, but the fact of the matter is that he'll be good and he'll eat up innings. Let's do the Diamond Dogs list. So for number 5, Pages legged out a squib double in the 2nd, which was really nice to see, because he was, you know, was battling up there. And there were times tonight when he was trying to hit the game-winning home run. He was trying to do it all with one big swing. And, you know, especially against that Doval, who threw 100 plus in the 9th, didn't shorten up his swing with 2 strikes, just really tried to rip one, which he did last night. So you can't really fault him or argue with that too much, because he's obviously feeling confident, because he knows he's capable of hitting the guy. 1-for-4 tonight, scored 2 runs. His batting average at 255, his OPS 700 plus. For number 4, Miggy, a cue ball right after the Pages squib. It was an RBI single. Scoring Pages tied the game at 1. For number 3, the Shohei Ohtani home run. We mentioned it earlier, 412 feet. Came in the 3rd inning for number 26 on the season. It was a 1-2 slider, and he looked just all over out of sync until he wasn't. Until he had his head on the ball and the timing figured, and he just absolutely mashed that ball to center field. For number 2, another Miggy Rojas at bat, an RBI single. It bounced off the 3rd baseman in the 4th. It got the Dodgers to within 2, 5-3 Giants at that point. Then also 2A, Gavin Lux, an RBI single in the 4th. That scored a run. I believe that made it 5-4 at that point. And then for number 1 tonight, Freddie Freeman, a bases loaded walk. Freddie Freeman had a very interesting night. 2 hits, 2 RBI, 2 walks, a run scored, batting average at 298. And the reason I put him at number 1 is they threw up a stat, which to me is kind of mind-boggling. Freddie Freeman is great. We know that. We like Freddie Freeman. We're a fan. We think he's a fantastic hitter. He's a grinder. He is very conscientious and is a very good guy. There's no questioning any of that stuff. But the stats that this guy has under his belt sometimes, to me, are surprising. I'm like, I know he's good, but I didn't know he's this historically good. Freddie Freeman has the 3rd best average in history of baseball with runners in scoring position. Let me say that again. The 3rd best average in the history of baseball with runners in scoring position. Tony Gwynn is number 1. Rod Carew is number 2. And Freddie Freeman is 3rd with an average. I believe the number was 334. Had a double to center in the 7th. Miggy Rojas, honorable mention. I said player of the game, the go-ahead RBI of the 10th. And then Will Smith, a 2-run double in the 11th. A really nice piece of hitting there. Will Smith is just flat out a good hitter. When he is on, it's tough to argue that he's not the best technical hitter on the Dodger team. I don't know that there's anybody better than him. The way he gets the hands inside and looks so compact, and that ball he hit in the 11th, the double, didn't even swing the bat that hard. But the technique was so good that it got to the wall, you know, at least to the warning track. So fantastic day for him. All in all, you know, just a fun win. I feel like, yes, all in all, it's good, it's entertaining, it's positive. You know, that the Dodgers rallied, they scored meaningful runs at a meaningful time in the game. Yeah, we could dig around and find some negative stuff here. The start from Tyler Glasnow wasn't great, but you know, that's going to happen. That's baseball. And remember, it's still June. So kudos to the Dodgers. I think they are going to be fine. Let's hope they win the series tomorrow. Again, today, final in 11 innings, Dodgers 14, Giants 7. It's just fun to say. Dodgers by a touchdown. 52-32 now after the win. Giants 40-44. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for the comments. Enjoy the rest of your night. Remember, Dodgers tomorrow at Dodgers Giants wrap up the series tomorrow at 1:05, I believe, to be specific. And it's James Paxton, undecided for the Giants, which means they'll probably have another opener and then a bullpen day because they're dealing with a lot of pitching injuries and woes and shortages. So should be another interesting one. Anytime these two get together, it's always good. So don't miss it. And then don't forget to join me here, hit the like button and become a member or sign up or join or whatever it is you do. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. Again, this is the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out whenever a game is done. And you can listen to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed, where you can also find Jeff and Vince doing the Locked On Daily Dodgers podcast. Have a good night. We'll talk tomorrow.